Welcome back to a Different Perspective podcast. I'm Maylise. It's been such a long time. Honestly, I was super busy, going through a tough time as well. But we're here, we're back, we're better. The Lord gave me a whole new vision on how I should go about this podcast. So I am super excited to continue this weekly. Today I have a very, very special guest, and I always say that, but this girl has such a such a special place in my heart. If we laugh a lot, I'm sorry, it's just who we are. But this is my niece Valerie. Say hi.
Hello. Very honored to be on this podcast.
I wish I had the clapping, like the
the
sound
edits.
effects.
Yes.
Coda.
Coda's eating chips.
I guess so. This podcast is going to be interrupted plenty of times, like always, because I can never get a break. Woo!
Praise God.
The clapping. Okay, so Valerie, tell us how old you are. Obviously not what school, but what grade you're in, and what you're gonna do in college once you're in college.
But so I'm 17. I'm a senior in high school, and I'm trying to go to UCF to study marine science.
You love the ocean, right?
I love the ocean. Yes.
What is that love that you have with the ocean? Like, how did that start?
I think my dad's always loved the ocean, and he's always taking me out there. We grew up going to the beach and seeing the marine life and all that. It just made me grow this love for it. I want to learn more about it and how to protect it, all that.
Okay. Where were you born? Like, I know you're not from Florida, so can you
Yeah.
tell them where you're from?
Okay, so I was born in Henderson, Nevada, but we did not live there for more than a year. So I basically grew up in California, and that's about it.
And then you moved to Florida when you were how old?
I was freshly 13, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
13. I literally remember meeting you.
Yeah.
Like, she was such a baby.
It was forever ago.
And it's just crazy to look back and see the change, I feel like back then, I've always been someone that could feel in the spirit. And obviously at the time I didn't know it was a gifting, I guess I could say. I didn't know, but I would come around certain people and be like, I know they're going through something, I know they're feeling something. And then I see you now and I'm just like, wow, the growth is crazy. I guess my next question is, how many siblings do you have? Are your parents together? I know all the answers, obviously, but they don't. Are your parents together or divorced? How many siblings do you have? And yeah, let's start with that.
Okay. So, my parents divorced 5 years ago, I think. And then I have an older brother. He's 5 years older than me. I have a little sister. She's 7. And I have a new baby brother.
He's 3 months, right?
That's 3 months?
3 months.
I guess he's 3 months.
The little bit of baby. Okay, so tell us a little bit about your story. So you were super young. So I love this opportunity that God has given us, because I feel like when I was your age, even a little younger, was when my life started to just turn upside down and go bananas. But I feel like you're at the perfect age. You found the Lord at obviously we all wish we've had the Lord since we were born, but you were saved and protected by our Lord and Savior.
Yeah, I'm grateful I was as young as I was when I found the Lord. 13 is extremely young.
Yeah, and that's good. But I know we hear stories all the time. People that are they've been saved, or they grew up in the faith. That's ideal, but stuff like this, our testimonies and our stories, I feel need to happen so people can see the way that the Lord has moved in our lives. And unfortunately we had to go through stuff at a really young age, but people will be able to look at our stories and look at our life and be like, wow, God is real, God is moving because of what he has done in their lives. So you are young, like I was saying. I love reaching the younger generation because, like I said, my life was a mess at a really young age. So I feel like there's a lot of kids who are going through stuff, especially like 13, 14, 15. So I would love for you to share your story and how you grew up and where you're at now with the Lord. So let's hear it.
Okay.
Do you want me to like ask you questions, or you got it?
It's up to you.
Go for it.
Okay.
I'm
you
here.
Just tell me. You cut me off whenever.
I got
you. Basically, yeah. So when we were living in California, it was just me, my dad, my mom, and my brother. We all lived together, and it was when they were still together. And honestly, my dad, he was kind of, he's a great dad, but he worked like 17 hours a day, so we didn't spend a lot of time together as much as I would have liked. And my mom, she worked too, but she was more a stay-at-home mom. But we just never really had a great relationship, like ever, and it was just rocky. And but she was the one that I spent the most time with, so it made being at home a little like difficult, even at a young age. Like I just didn't feel always very comfortable. But my brother, he's like 5 years older than me, so we didn't get along much either. He was too old and cool for me, so that was that. But I was living life. I'm little, school's going on, like I don't have any cares in the world.
You were just
I was just a baby.
yeah,
literally.
Yeah.
So and then when things started really like changing and my life started like flipping and turning around was when I was 12. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It was when my parents my dad decided to move out because I guess my mother had been unfaithful, and it was just the biggest shock because like as much as like we did have our issues, I thought we were all gonna be like one big happy family forever. Like I just didn't picture us ever separating at all. So that was crazy. So my dad moved out, and it was just me and my mom, and I knew why he had moved out, and so I feel like I really had a hard time, like I don't know, like viewing my mother the same way. Mm-hmm. I kind of just I blamed her a lot for what happened, and it made our relationship worse. And
you were how old again?
I was 12, so I was in 7th grade.
12 is crazy.
Yeah.
Like
just
like think about it. Like we know 12-year-olds in our life. You know what I'm saying? Like I mean, well, she's a little, but I mean our cousin's literally 12. Like, can you imagine? Like, just look at him and be like, at that age, or what at the grade he's in, like I endured all this pain, and they're blessed. Like I'm so happy and grateful that my family doesn't have to go through what I went through, because they're not saved and stuff like that. But you look at our little cousin, and you're like, wow, like at your age I was going through a lot. So
exactly,
you were young. Continue. Sorry.
No, for sure. And also like an important point of like my testimony is that I never like knew any people on my dad's side of the family till I was literally like actually 13 too. When we moved to Florida, I didn't meet anybody. It was only my mom's side of the family. The bugs. but
probably gonna be the only downfall of filming out here.
No, yeah. So it was my mom's side of the family. They all lived in Mexico, but I would spend summers there. Like my grandma was like my second mother. Like even I would say like more of a mother to me than my actual one was. And so when all that happened, it was kind of just like I was leaning onto them to feel like everything was gonna be okay. And then one night, me and my mother we really had a big disagreement, and she was just like, oh, just go with your dad, like go with him, because we just couldn't get along. And the next day I did. Like she was at work and I didn't even tell her, but I was like, Dad, come pick me up after school. Like I can't do this anymore. Like it's just not working out with me and her. And so he picked me up, and I lived with him. We were like a city down from where we were living, and it was definitely like in the COVID era at this point. So yeah, but it was rough. All the people from my mom's side of the family that I was talking about earlier, like that were my only people, stopped talking to me, and that was really difficult because like they were the only people I had. Like I don't know what I had done to deserve that. They were kind of I think they were under the impression that I just wanted to like abandon my mom and my brother, but
Yeah.
I mean, I was the one kind of getting abandoned by my family, and I had never felt more alone at that point because it's just me and my dad living in this city where we have no close family or friends, and the only ones that I do have, for some reason, are taking it out on me, and I was like, that brought me to a very depressed point because, like,
Who would want to like feel like you're being pushed away? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Especially from a family you were so close to for so
Yeah.
long. Yeah.
and then eventually my mom was like, my dad had this business, the one that he worked 17 hours a day for, and you know, my mom, they were married, so my mom's name was on it, so I guess she had wanted something out of that business, so she told my dad, you know, you should just sell it and move to Florida. And my dad's like, no, I'm not going anywhere without Valerie. Like, why would I leave? I want to stay with my daughter. And she was like, I don't care, like, take her. Like, and that was heartbreaking. It was when we were still just living, me and him, in California, and I was like, all right. And like, I was like, take me, like, I have no reason to stay in California, like, let's go to Florida. My dad grew up in Florida, so it's whatever. And you know, that was crazy because it's like, you're my mom, like, we've lived together for these 12 years, these short 12 years of my life, but still, that's my whole world. And like, you're just gonna drop me like I'm nothing after all we've been through.
Also, I feel like
Yeah.
California was like all you knew too. So it's like you were so young and like such a big change. I feel like moving is such a big thing, especially moving schools, like a whole new life. And I heard you mention not too long ago that even like now you're still not even kind of used to it. Like, this is all like still kind of new. So I cannot imagine leaving Florida. Like, I've literally
Right.
been here since I was born, and I cannot imagine like me moving. Like,
Yeah.
and I'm 22 years old. Like, I can't. Like, I'm a grown woman. I can't imagine being a kid where like you have a school, you have friends. Like, that must have been like really rough.
Yeah, it was just like, I feel like everything I knew was just kind of ripped away, and that was a scary thing to feel because it's like, it's just me and my dad. Like, I don't have anybody else to like help me through it, but it's all right. And then we're here, and it's just me and my dad. We don't know anybody, and we're like, we have to just like find friends. Like, we can't just be alone. And so 5 minutes down the road from where we're living is Lake Mary Church. I don't know if I'm allowed to say the name of the church.
Sure.
But no, but yeah, Lake Mary Church. And like, I don't know, I should have said this at the beginning, but we didn't grow up, like, I didn't grow up in a Christian household. We weren't Christian. Like, we were like the go to church on like Christmas Sunday or Easter Sunday. That's it. Like, I didn't know anything about the Lord. Maybe the Adam and Eve story. I think I knew that. That was it. But
I barely knew that one, bro.
no, yeah, that's it. So we were like, let's go. You know, I was really depressed at this point. Like, I was emo too. Like, that's how I expressed, you know, how I was feeling. Yeah, so I would go to youth group and, you know, my all black, my spiky clothes. And, you know, at this point, like,
Wait, backtrack.
oh,
So you found a church nearby
yeah.
your house. How did you start going to youth group? Like, how did that become a thing? Like, how did you find that?
my dad forced me to go. On Sundays, they have 4 services, and at the 4th one, they do the youth group, because I was in middle school still. I was in 8th grade at this point. So my dad would make me go. I didn't want to. I was like, at least let me go to the adult service with you so I don't have to be around these kids, because I don't want to meet anybody new.
And also, I feel like same with me, you had gone through so much already that you mentally were somewhere else. You know what I'm saying?
Literally.
Like, you weren't acting your age. Like, they were acting their age. Like, they were okay. You know, a lot of them
Exactly.
were like somewhat normal, but
Exactly.
us, like, we've gone through so much that sometimes, like, mentally we're like ahead of like a
Exactly.
lot of other age groups and ages.
You just don't fit in.
You know,
and all
you
that.
feel like you don't fit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I started going to that, and it took a while for me to actually get used to it. But like, just to like let y'all know, like, this was like, I was really down in the trenches. Like, I still, like, this really affected me. And like, I don't know if you can imagine, like, the people you're closest to that you love, where like one day everything's normal and you're just living life, and the other day they're just like, okay, bye, like, we don't care about you, and that's it. Like, I had gotten to a point where I was like self-harming, you know. I chose to like hang out with a crowd that I knew wasn't good for me because I was willing to do anything to feel like I was accepted by a friend group, a boy. Like, I just wanted to feel loved and accepted, and at that point I didn't know that the Lord could do that for me. So yeah, it's probably been like a month going to this youth group, and it's the pastor preaching for it shared the gospel, and at this point I had heard it a few times, but I finally realized like how it applied to me, and like how it was personal to like everybody, because I just thought it was a story, you know. But no, I mean, the Lord, like, I learned that I don't have to rely on like my mom or like my friends, the people that you think should be there for you. Like, I don't have to rely on them to feel loved and accepted, because they're humans and they're not perfect and they're gonna let you down, but the Lord never lets you down.
Yeah.
And he will never drop you or anything. Like, he's always gonna be here with his arms open wide to accept you. And I realized that in that moment, and I feel like everything just like a switch flipped, and I was like, I don't have to keep living like this. Like, there's another option.
Yeah.
And that was crazy. I mean,
I see what you mean. Like, you were like kind of like seeking validation. I feel like that's the perfect word. I had always seeked validation in like men, or not even men, little boys, and like partying and like drugs and alcohol. Like, I'm also older. I don't know. I don't know, but I also like did self-harm too. But it's like, it's that validation, like the validation you didn't receive from like your mom or me, like my parents, and like you're trying to find it in things that of the world, you know.
Yeah.
And like you said, like when you find out that the Lord can literally provide all of that, it's like, wow, like you realize like how you've been like just looking in the wrong places like your whole time. And I also was thinking, like, isn't it so cool how he just like we are so mature for our age because we've endured so much and we've gone through so much, but he makes us childlike again. Like, he literally transforms us, and he like, because we're his children, and we like, I feel like sometimes when I'm like laughing or cracking a joke, like because then there's times to be serious, but then sometimes you're like, I'm a child of God, like I'm being protected, and like I'm so loved, and it's like it makes you all giddy, and like he like makes you feel your age, and like I don't know, I just think it's so cool how he literally makes us he wants us to be childlike, and he makes us childlike, and it's such a, like an awesome feeling, you know. I was gonna ask you just a little bit more on like the self-harm topic. When did you realize, so you self-harmed, when did you realize that like you need to stop, like this wasn't like
So actually that kept going on even after I gave my life to Jesus that one night at youth group, because for some people that change is instant, but for me it did take a little while. It was a slow burn, and I realized that it was something that I needed to quit doing, because like I actually would look to my dad to help me with that, and he told me that it actually, like, imagine how it hurts the Lord. Like, he cares about us so much, and he sees us as his children. Like, we're so dear to him, and like if I was a mom, I couldn't imagine knowing that my kid is hurting themselves, and like he created us, like, and he doesn't want us to be hurting us. So that kind of broke my heart, and I was like, okay, like, yeah, like I don't want to hurt the Lord, like I don't want to hurt my body that he's given me. And pretty much that was a big eye-opening moment.
Like, we're his temple, you know, and it's like we're also his children, so it's like, so let me mention something. This podcast is so anointed by the Lord, bro. Like, these podcasts are meant to happen because the enemy is after it so hard, bro. I have Valerie as a witness. Every time I go to film a podcast, there's always an issue. Always an issue. Something with the memory, something with the camera, something's dying, something's not this, something. It's always something. But we are now resuming where we left off.
Amen.
Proceed, Valerie.
Yes. So, we were talking about self-harm, and like another reason that I realized I need to turn away from that is because as I got closer into my like deeper in my relationship with the Lord, I realized that it wasn't the only option to feel better or to feel like some relief, or I realized that I can look to the Lord and like I can put all that weight onto him, because that's why he died for us, you know what I mean? So he can we can be in relationship with him, and he can help us through all those hard times. And that really helped me to turn away, and I noticed such a big change in like my forgiveness with my mom and all this stuff. So yeah.
I was going to add, like, do you know, like, the percentage of self-harm is so crazy, especially in like the younger generation. So like, I want to ask you, and I don't know if you remember, but like, how did you learn about self-harm?
Yeah, I was gonna say that because like it's actually crazy like how common it is these days. And I really think the reason I started doing it is because I learned from my friends. Like I had friends that did that, and they had hard lives, you know, and I was like, oh shoot, like that's supposed to help, or like maybe that's just something you're supposed to do when you're really hurt, and maybe that'll like help you get rid of your frustrations. And so yeah, it really was influenced by like peers. Like it wasn't something that I just came up with.
That's why like I stand on the whole like, I don't want my kids having social media, or like yeah, like I don't want to, because social media does play a big, like, especially nowadays,
For sure.
like social media does play a big like role in that. And like I don't want my kids having social media, like, because it's like the world is so like just messed up. And it's like also sometimes you can't help it because you go to school and you're around people, and like they have an influence too. That's why it's so important, and that's why it's so important to me to reach the younger generation, because I consider myself the younger generation too, but we are so easily influenced, and so easily like, just like we hear a rumor online or like something on TikTok, and then it's like,
Exactly.
like aliens, and like we just start like
Especially when you're like
freaking out.
like just gullible.
You're gullible.
Young.
We're gullible. We're young and
Yeah.
gullible, and like it's unfortunate, but we have to see things from the eyes of Jesus, and make sure that we are filled with his spirit at all times, and just pray for discernment to be able to tell like, okay, like this, that, you know. And that's why I said again, like it's so important to reach the ages below us, and like the grades below us, because like they're literally,
They're the
we were
future.
them, and they are the future. Yeah. So okay, that's like the self-harm topic. I wanted to touch on the forgiveness topic of it. So I know like your mom put you through a lot of pain, and you endured a lot of pain, especially with your family. I want to know, forgiveness is a big part of having a relationship with the Lord. Like I don't think you could have a true deep relationship with the Lord until you've truly forgiven people. And the Bible literally says that we have to forgive. So how did you overcome that? How were you able to just say, Lord, I surrender it all to you, I forgive them? Or did you forgive them to their face? I know you don't have to do that, but how did that go about?
So, like Maylee said, there's a lot of hurt involved between me and my mom, and you know, that side of the family. And I gave my life to Christ, but I still was going through all that pain. Like it didn't just like sunshine and rainbows, everything was great. So I learned that I had to overcome that, because I was at like this roadblock where I wasn't moving forward in my walk with God. And I was like, okay, like it's this bitterness in my heart from like not being able to forgive my mom, because like I felt like what she did to me was like kind of hurting me in all areas of life. So I just had that bitterness towards her. I was like, okay, like it's her fault I'm like this. And it's like so it took a lot of just like faking it till I made it. I don't know if that's good advice, but I would kind of just talk to God and tell him everything that like I felt like she did to me that hurt me, or anybody else, but obviously mainly my mom, but you know, that like messed me up. And like I kind of just laid it all at his feet, and like even after that, like I'd feel so much relief, and I'd just be like, you know what, like I forgive her. Like I'd pray to God, like I forgive my mom and what she did to me, and like these things that she did to me. And slowly but surely, like I was starting to feel like I could think about my mom and not feel this bitterness towards her. And like I prayed for her too, as hard as it was. you know, like to this day we still don't speak after 5 years, and all I wish is the best for her and that somebody can reach her. And I couldn't have been able to forgive my mom and pray for her and all this stuff if it wasn't for the Lord. I would have still been like, I hate you. Yeah.
I feel like that is a common thing we also see within our faith and like with our spiritual family and stuff like that, is that some people think that forgiveness is like, okay, I say I forgive them. I'm gonna say in my mind, all right, Lord, I forgive them. But truly, like deep down inside, like, do you really forgive them? Like, if you see them in person, are you gonna look at them and be like, I hate you, or like, I don't like you? Like, true deep forgiveness is saying like, we're not perfect, you know, like we're all sinners, like we all make mistakes. So true forgiveness is recognizing that and being able to say like, I put this behind me, and if this person were to come and apologize to you, doesn't mean you have to be best friends or like the closest of close, I guess. Like, you can say to them like, you're God's child as well as I am, and like I said, we're not perfect, and we can put this aside. That's true. That's true forgiveness for me. Like, I don't know, like I feel for a long time I was like, oh, I forgive them, like, okay, but then I would think about them and be like, like, so that's also a huge achievement, and that's like a huge thing to celebrate, is when you're able to do that, because that's hard. Especially I feel like us as girls, like we're so emotional and sensitive that it's like I feel like back then I used to hold so many grudges. Until this day, I still struggle with that. Like, that's still a daily struggle that, like, I have to continue, like, to die to self and, like, fight my flesh, because it's, like, something I'm, like, like, I want to hold it accountable, like, hold it on them. That's not the word. Hold it against them. Hold it against them. And I'm just, like, I can't. Because it's, like, would God do that to you? Mm-hmm. Would Jesus do that to you? He holds nothing against us. Like, so it's like, I like that.
That's true. That's what I had to remember. I was like, not the car. Like, how many times have I gone against God and like He still forgives me? And like, I think there's a verse in the Bible. It's like He doesn't even remember it. Mm-hmm. Like, after you truly repent, and it's like, who am I to like? Exactly.
He forgives our sins as far as the east is from the west.
That's it. Yeah. Like, who am I to just be like, okay, my mom doesn't even deserve my forgiveness? And that's how I used to think. I was like, I'm never gonna forgive her. Mm-hmm. Like, she doesn't deserve it. But it's like, she's a human and she makes mistakes, and like it's just it'll help me too. It'll honestly benefit me more than anything to let go of that.
It's honestly, like, no offense, but I feel like holding something against someone or holding a grudge against someone, like you said, it hurts us more. It hurts you because you're fighting that inner like battle of like I have like just hate, and hate is not of God. And also, like, I was gonna say, why did I just forget what I was gonna say? It was good. Dang
today, Satan.
Not what was I gonna say? It was so good. Pause, let's meditate. Nah, I lost it. But no, that is really good. Oh, like mercy, like having mercy. Like, we're supposed to strive to be like Christ, like God, every single day. Like, that's our daily goal. Like, we wake up, and that's the first thing we should strive to be, is more like Him, which is gonna be impossible, but we can, like, even if I reach His feet, like, that's enough for me. And we all obviously struggle with that because we're literally sinners, but He is a merciful God, and He has mercy. And without mercy, we'd be dead. Yeah, literally.
Where we belong.
Where we belong, honestly. So it's like being able to have just like mercy, and being able, like I said earlier, like, we aren't perfect, and like we all make mistakes. So I like that. I like this conversation. That's a good conversation. So I feel like till this day, I still struggle with that.
Me too.
It's a daily struggle.
Yeah, but it changes a lot. Like,
oh, I forgot. No, Valerie, not doing her job.
First time podcaster. No, yeah. Like, to this day, I catch myself slipping sometimes. Like, in my forgiveness, like, cause I feel like every day, like, I find something new about like how that trauma affected me, because I'm still so young. There's still things I'm experiencing, and I'm like, oh shoot, like I didn't realize that this hurts me, like or like this affects me in this way, or like a trauma response or whatever. So like it's important to not forget to keep like laying that stuff down, and like just forgiving all the time.
Yeah, I was also gonna mention that, to bounce off of that.
Don't forget, man.
I have the memory of a goldfish.
Yeah, short-term memory loss.
I got short-term memory loss. Dang it! I'm done. I'm hungry. It's Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. This is our Thanksgiving special. We're filming on Thanksgiving, so back there behind me is the scent of a fresh turkey
And mashed potatoes.
Okay. So I honestly forgot what I was gonna say. I'm not hungry.
My forgiveness and like learning to keep forgiving.
I'm just forgiving. Yeah. I wish I
yeah.
could put my the
Kinda hit the
microphone on my
nail.
belly so they could hear it. So my question for you is, if you had one piece of advice to give your younger self. I remember what I was gonna say now. Wow. I was gonna say, no, I forgot again. If you have one piece of advice to give someone like that's going through what you were going through, like what would you say?
Dang. That's
I remember
crazy.
what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
I was gonna say it's so much better. Like we're constantly gonna be going through stuff. Like it's inevitable. Like we're constantly. What is it that they say? We're either going into a storm, in a storm, or coming out of a storm. So we're
Yeah.
constantly going through something. But it's like now that you have Christ, like it just makes the situations like just so much better. Like, because I mean it sucks to go through stuff, obviously, but now we know that like He's going to use it for our good. Like He's going to use it to change us, to edify us, to make us better stewards, to make us better just disciples.
That's true.
And it's like going through stuff back then when you didn't have Him was like the worst, you know, like it was the absolute worst. But now when you go through stuff, you're like,
You're kind of grateful
Yeah.
that you went through it.
exactly. And you have like you have someone to like go to and lay it all down, like you said, and be like, Lord, take it all. And like you can trust Him with everything you have and know that He is in control and He's gonna get you out of it.
Amen.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I got it. I'm so glad I got that. Anyways, back to what I was saying. One piece of advice you'd give someone, like, I would say like, you know, look back at like 13, 14-year-old you. If you knew someone that was going through what you're going through, what would you tell them? Being in the position you're at now.
Yeah. That's tough. Obviously, like, if they don't know God, that's the most important part. That was what changed the game for me. But the biggest thing that I remembered is like, I had it. I really did. Hold on.
Well, I was gonna say exactly what you said. Like,
Yeah.
the Lord. Like,
Literally
number
the
one.
Lord.
Step one is God. Like, if I look back at little me and I had to give her advice or anyone going through something, I'd be like, number one, seek the Lord, because that's your first step.
Yeah, I guess like importantly, just the fact that like it's literally the answer is the Lord. But I'm saying like what brought me further was like, okay, like these people on earth are always gonna let you down. It doesn't matter if it's like your blood, like they're not perfect. Like you'd think your parents would be there for you no matter what, but they can't. It's just not possible, and it's like kind of inevitable. So it's like the Lord's gonna be that like He's always gonna be there for you. Like He's never gonna let you down. So like why turn away from Him? Like He's all you'll ever need, even if you had no one. Like amen, period.
That's good. Preach, Valerie, preach. So, where are you at now with your walk with Christ? Are you like striving, doing great?
Honestly, yeah, it is pretty much the best it's been since the beginning. You know, I really don't like have the struggles that I used to anymore. It's different struggles, you know, like because I'm obviously, like I said earlier, I'm going through new things.
Yeah.
So it's like it's like the storms are like not as crazy. Like I feel like I'm at this like point where it's like I'm always calm and chill because I know that like it's gonna be okay. Like everything's in God's hands. Like I'm in a position where like, okay, like I'm starting to go into university, all that, like big changes, and it's like, okay, like I'm gonna be fine. Like I'm letting the Lord like take the way for me, lead the way, and that's that.
That's so good. It's like being able to see, like, as someone who's in your life and close to you, like seeing your growth is like probably one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. And like especially at such a young age, and like I feel like we can relate a lot just because we, like I said earlier, we just have gone through so much at such a young age. And just like the way that we're able to overcome it. And like honestly, I mean, you were saved before me, so it's like you're younger, but you inspire me, you know, and you inspired me. Honestly, you were the first one saved in our whole family. You're top of the top. You're number one. You started the ripple, because it is a ripple. It was like a ripple effect. Like now it's like ding, ding,
but that's why, like what Maylee says, it's the younger generation that's gonna change the world. Like it doesn't matter, age does not matter. And
especially now, I mean, the younger generation is, I don't want to say ruling the world, but like they're honestly, they know social media. Like we have everything at the palm of our hands. Like we have social media, I feel like this generation is also super outgoing. Like they don't care about anything. Like they'll go out there, we'll jump on the highest tree and shout out Jesus is King, and like we don't care. But Valerie, this was so good. One question that I feel like I always ask at the end of a podcast, and it's super fun, is what is your favorite worship song?
Oh my gosh, stop.
This is important.
Right now? Wait, can I look?
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I feel like
I have it in mind.
Mine right now, bro, is Assurance.
Well, that's valid. Yeah. Oh yeah. Right now I have 3. Okay.
Okay. Go for it.
Come In by Todd Galbraith. Do It Again by Elevation Worship.
Do It Again is
and
good.
Holy Ground by, I don't know, I forgot. Holy Ground by Passion.
All right, you gotta sing one of them.
Top 3. Okay. I've seen you move. You move the mountains, and I believe I'll see you do it again. That's it.
I thought you were gonna pass the microphone to me, and I was gonna tell you. Unfortunately, I do not know this song.
Yes, you do, bro. I'll play it, and you'll
Valerie, this was so good.
Thanks for having me.
So blessed to have you in my life, and I'm so excited to see what the Lord has for you, because you have such a like long journey ahead of you. I mean, we all do, but I'm talking as if I'm like an 80-year-old woman, like. Right. But you have such a long, beautiful journey ahead of you, and I can't wait to see what the Lord does in your life. Wow, I feel like this only took us like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But it really took us like 40.
Good.
Wow. I don't want to end it.
Listen to it all.
I don't want to end it.
No, we don't have to.
What else do we
Let's keep talking. No, bro. There's no way.
But no, we'll end it here just for editing's sake and Thanksgiving's sake, because I'm hungry.
Yeah, I'm starving.
But thank you guys so much for watching. Please stay tuned for more podcasts coming out, because I promise this will be consistent now. There was a little hiccup, but we're back on our grind. And yeah, thank you so much for watching.
Thank you. Tell all your friends about this podcast.
For real. We're gonna change lives out here, right? All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.
See ya. High five. Boom. Done.